Hey guys, I wanted to show a replay of a game on May. I used one of the builds that I was talking about. I did change two talents around. One of them I kind of regret, but otherwise I did want to show just a little bit of gameplay. I did record while I was doing this, but it just kind of got to a lot of dead zones, and I didn't really think that was appropriate. So in this case, I am doing the replay of it. I'll still try to talk a little bit about what I was thinking, just because overall that's kind of what we were going for. This was PTR, so I wasn't sure how the rank of my team was, so I do focus heavily on wave clear and making sure that we're soaking every lane. You will notice that I use my W a lot for wave clear. It is a lot of mana, 70 mana, but you get a lot of that back by picking up a globe, so a nice blizzard and into snowblind is enough to really cover a decent chunk of the wave clear. I'm going against Urel, and I know that she's going to have a really good option at taking me out, so my goal here is to just try to be pretty decent on the wave clear without trying to get too crazy on it. I don't think May's really a solo laner. I'm just covering the solo lane because I want to make sure that our team's covering all of the soak that we need. And again, you'll see I use my W and my Q a lot for wave clear. I think the thing that I probably should have been doing in this matchup is freeze the lane. I see Urel was doing a lot of wave clear, and I could have just stayed in the back. I do use my trait to heal myself a few times. It does kind of look funny though, because it looks like I'm ice blocking to like keep myself up, and I'm using these really bad ice blocks, but I am using it mainly just for sustain. The ice block portion of this is okay, but it's not great. If you're using this for ice block and you still take a huge amount of damage, you can still die. So that's why I like using that, and like damage over times are really powerful in this, because when you get out of the ice block, you have a whole bunch of damage over times on you. So you're going to notice that happens a couple times against Gul'dan, because it doesn't remove damage over times like normal ice blocks do. So, level 1, I take Ice Storm. Every third hit against enemy heroes deals 51 additional damage. Honestly, I haven't gotten a lot of value out of that first part. The second part is the final stun deals 125% increased damage to everything. Meaning, because it's doing 125% increased damage to everything, I use it for wave clear. And it's not bad wave clear. I mean, it's certainly okay. So you're going to see me using this a lot for wave clear on multiple maps, and that's pretty much the only wave clear talent that I take anymore. Level 4, Slush Ball's really good, but it didn't add as much as I thought it would for wave clear, and the disabling structures is only one structure every 10 seconds for 3 seconds, and to me it's like, that wasn't really worth it. So I didn't really like Slush Ball. I ran it a couple times and I just didn't really like it. Now, maybe I'm wrong, so it's something that I'll definitely need to practice with a little bit more. Maybe, again, I still think it's a better talent on like Tomb of the Spider Queen, but for every other map, I take Crystallize now. Crystallize reduces the cooldown of my Cryo Freeze by 15 seconds, and gives me 50 spell armor while it's active and for 2 seconds after it's active. This allows me a lot of pressure when I'm trying to play a little bit more aggressive, and it allows me to use my Cryo Freeze usually twice per objective fight, while the other one usually I can only get it done once per objective fight, so it's pretty nice. I go and pretty much just do my best to try to stall out the enemies so that we can get this first objective of the game, and then we kind of move on from there. I realize that Zul'jin's covering top lane, so I figure I'll just cover the mid lane soak and then possibly go into another one, but I see that we have the Varian going in, so I decide to make a play. And if you notice how I do this, I slow them first so it's easier to land my icing. After landing my icing, they're slowed for 80%, so I use Blizzard, and then as the 80% will decay, they'll start growing with the slow from Blizzard, and so this combo right here is enough to usually lead to a kill. And it's actually really cool. It's a fun engage. It's something that doesn't seem like it's just like the usual like boring stuff. To me, it reminds me a lot like Blaze's engage, where you throw the slow out first and then you combo off of that. So once again, I'm using all of my abilities to clear this lane. I will probably grab this fountain though, so we can get in here. My team ends up being a little slow to this objective, and I end up making a pretty major misplay. So while you get to watch me make this major misplay, you get to see me take the wrong talent on level 7 as well. I wouldn't say it's that bad of a talent, it's just the fact that after playing her for a while, I realized that this talent almost never gets value. So I go in with my E. I probably should have head down in this direction to try to get out, but instead I try to join my team. My trait does get burned through, and I lose a lot of the extra healing that I was expecting, So overall, just a misplay on my part. I should have told my team to get back earlier. They overstay. They end up doing pretty well for not having a tank. But overall, I think it would have been better if we just backed off at that point. So I end up heading up top. I want to get some soak up in the top lane. So my team, we lost a few people. That was kind of a rough one. That's all pretty much on me. I engaged. I did a little bit of limit testing and learned, hopefully I learned the limits of her survivability in the early game. So I took Induced Hibernation. It reduces the damage of people that are in the snowstorm, and it reduces the damage of people that get stunned by the snowstorm. But overall, I would rather get Skating Away, where you can go in, get some physical armor, and then give movement speed. And if you're peeling for your team, you can give them movement speed. I realized this game that I was peeling a lot for my team, and so this actually would have been an amazing talent. So against divers, I highly recommend this talent. Also against heavy physical damage, I highly recommend this talent. And we're actually against double mage, so I did recommend backup battery against double mage, and I still recommend it against double mage, but because we had this Urel constantly diving in the backline, I really wish I would have gotten Skating Away. I think it would have been much better. That being said, though, I did take Induced Hibernation. Since I take it, you're going to see that I start changing the playstyle of my team fights once we start losing team fights. I changed the playstyle to start throwing this on my backline, and then suddenly they can't really get to my backline. Then I charge their backline. So my backline's safe and their backline is zoned out, and we end up winning a lot of those fights after I changed that playstyle. Again, I just use my W a lot for wave clear, and I head down here and I start working on this this objective. I do pick up Avalanche, and I kind of misplay this first Avalanche, but I'm still learning the best ways to use it. So currently, you're going to see I just simply drop down a stun right there. I get sent over here, and then I avalanche both the tank and the soul laner back that way. I then decide to join my team. Alright, I thought I joined my team there, but I guess not. And I just go with a couple little things. We go for a little slow there, and then I go to knock back the enemies. Now, in this case, we've probably already lost this team fight because they got our healer and everything. So I'm like, okay, we need to deal with this Urel. Even with my ult, we weren't able to do anything with it. So in this case, I grab the fountain before it's destroyed. In this case, it's not getting destroyed, but I try to push them into the range of the towers so that the tower can start killing it. We have quite a fight going on here with Zul'jin doing his best to stay alive as long as possible. But you gotta remember, I'm a tank. I don't look like a tank, but I am a tank. So I simply CC the enemies, slow them down, and use my extra healing to get out. And once that's destroyed, I decide, you know what, it's time to get out. I do a slow here, and then I also do a blizzard, doing my best to try to keep my team alive. And I'm just continuing to try to get a couple auto attacks off here and there to try to get some extra damage. But overall, there's not too much that I can do to peel. Now we definitely want to get to this objective very soon, so I back, because the time it takes to Hearthstone and then get to an objective is on this particular map is usually about 26 seconds, so I'll be there about 3 seconds late, most likely, but it's their curse, so we can't give them their curse. So I tell my team, I don't really tell my team anything, I just ping. I ping on my way. And my reason for that is, if they won this, they would get a curse and likely a boss, because they could kill us and then get a boss and then get their curse. So I'm like, nope, I gotta go in there. The fights haven't been looking so great lately, so I'm gonna focus more on peeling than anything else. They use a lot of CC on me, and that's perfectly fine. I'm the tank. So I then send their Li Ming away, and she gets stunned, and this is a great time to try to, like, stall them out. I get a pretty big stun right here, a couple auto attacks, I go in, I knock them back, and that's a kill. Then I use my Q, and I know they're going to focus on me, so I pop my trait early before I get CC'd, gain my life back, and my shield also eats a little bit of damage for my team as well. I count down on my icing that I have time to go in and get one more kill. I toss down my blizzard, my Q, an auto attack, and we get another kill. Overall, that is very powerful. I ping for my team to go to boss because I'm like, hey, we've got 4 of them dead and we're near their boss. This is a great time to go for boss. And I've talked about in her particular video how good she is about fighting on boss pit, because you can freeze everyone who tries to take over the thing, and you can just cryo freeze yourself so that you don't have any other issues. Overall, it's a really powerful tool. And that's one of your main benefits. If you're in comms with your team, you should try to invade camps that you know the enemies are on, purely because you're so strong at fighting on camps. Right here, I decided to rotate up because I was going to go help the wave clear up top a little bit because there was a catapult that was hitting. But then I was like, oh wait, the tribute spawns soon, so I'm going to head down here. I then head over to my fountain, but I don't want to grab it immediately because it would waste half the fountain if I use it too soon. So instead, this is a curse for either team. I want to make sure that I have like half the fountain still giving me healing. I do want to point out that we also have an anomaly going on right now. So all of us have extra health. So burst heroes are going to struggle, but sustained damage heroes are going to have a lot more benefits. So that's the snow anomaly. It's not bad. Again, using a W to zone them out. I see the URL going up there. So I head down here. My job is to pretty much use that. I send just the Joanna over in that direction. We can do a lot of damage to her. Now I'm going to just simply throw out an extra W, try to stall them out. And again, we're just going to poke her down. We don't need to do too much there. I do knock back the light bomb every time, do a big slow, pop my trait to eat most of the damage that was sent to me. I end up avoiding the horrify while I'm at it. I send in one of those. I do a little bit of a slow there, but I am actually getting rather low. One of the benefits, though, of Mei is that she has so much CC that even if you get rather low, you're kind of in a pretty good spot to survive. You can always just juke people around and use your slows to prevent any extra damage. You have the mobility to ever get out of a fight if you think that it's going to turn out to be a bad fight. So we get a really good fight there. We get the curse, and I pinged their keep a few times. I stay mounted here because I want to be using my icing, and so my goal here is to kind of catch her and throw a Q out to finish her off. So in that case, we were able to finish her off, and now we go straight for this keep. I throw out a W just so we don't need to worry about these minions at all. I grab the globe for my team, and now we just sit and we start hitting the keep as much as we can. And so I do throw out an ult just to pull away their healers, and then I tell my team let's back off, right? I give them several retreat pings because I don't really want to be fighting. Once you take a keep, you want to back off. One of the reasons why is you need to really gauge and go, can we win the game right here? And if the answer is maybe or no, you back off because it's not worth it. If the answer is yes, then you can stay after you kill a keep. But if the answer is no, you definitely need to immediately leave. So again, I V-ping because I'm running low on mana. I don't really want to be taking a fight here, so I just tell everyone to back off. And I could grab a fountain here, or I could simply just back off. Excuse me. But yeah, so I back off, get full health, get full mana. We're level 16, so we could go for something here. The enemies don't have their boss, so I don't need to worry about that. Enemies hit 16, so we're just kind of chilling. Level 13, I take cooling servos. When I use my trait, I now recharge all of my abilities 200% faster. The other thing that this does is when I auto-attack someone, when I shoot someone, I slow them by 20%, and it's a permanent slow. So you're going to see me use that to get the Joanna to pop her trait early. So I'll auto-attack Joanna a couple times, she'll pop her trait, and then she'll run away. And the great part about this is when she pops her trait, she doesn't have that trait for when I want to actually throw some bigger CC. So that's the great part about that. At level 16, I take Black Ice. It's an 80% slow. So right here, I pop my ult, and I grab a lot of stuff here. I already ate the Blessed Shield. The Light Bomb gets picked up with the Avalanche, and I grab everyone else. So he pops his ult, I pop my ult, he gets out alive, and we're perfectly fine. So that's 3 ults for 2. Not bad, and my ult's on a pretty low cooldown. I mean, so is theirs. But yeah, that's a pretty good way to answer it. So again, you can use this like a gust if your team's ever taking a bad fight, or you can use it as an engage. I haven't really had the opportunity to use it as an engage yet because the enemies keep diving in already, so I have to use it to peel for my team. But you can jump past their team with icing and then immediately use avalanche to push them in, kind of like a haymaker. Except for it's a haymaker that can pick up everyone and then stun everyone at the end and do a huge amount of damage at the end, followed by you could follow up your own avalanche with a stun. So it's just really powerful. I would say it's a lot more powerful than haymaker. But yeah, Black Ice is an 80% slow. It's, again, I like to compare it to like if Anubarak had Joanna's Subdue quest completed. So again, I use my auto attacks to slow, pops the unstoppable. Now we don't need to worry about that for 15 seconds. And so we can just go from there. Again, we get this extra shield from the snow, but so do the enemies. So we need to be careful about trying to like one-shot people. The Urel goes in, so I use my avalanche to, or I wanted to use my avalanche to send back their backline. So I just grabbed their backline, and now my job is to try to peel off of this team. It's looking pretty rough, though. This Urel's doing a lot of damage, so I simply just start peeling off of it. And that's what I was saying, that I probably should have gone the peel talents. They end up getting this curse, and we have to kind of back off. So now the goal is to pretty much just survive. They are trying to catch us off, though, so I'm trying to find a way to peel for my team and avoid the fights if we can. I see a good opportunity to try to engage on someone, but it doesn't end up working out too well. I pop my trait, gain some life back, and now I'm telling my team, hey, you know what, we got to get back now. I peel one more time for an 80% slow, then I drop down a W, which again, chasing a Mei is probably one of the worst things that you can do, because you can do so much slows and so much CC if you try to chase in, and she's great in those clustered environments. So right there, I was able to peel off my team, and now we have a rather close game, so it could go either way. Yeah, sorry about that. It could go either way. So right now, my goal is to pretty much just play it safe and watch for the enemies to make mistakes. I want to wave clear to the best of my ability and just see. Now, I do really want to stop them from going for boss, so I tell my team to go over here because I expected them to go for a boss. So I head over here and I want to check this bush immediately, but they actually were already here, and now it's a really awkward fight. So this time, I want to get rid of their healer. So I'm going to use Avalanche. It's going to bring him all the way down here and stun him. And then this is going to give my team time to get out alive. And possibly time to turn. If we do a decent amount of damage, they won't have a healer for this fight. So, again, in this case, I didn't get the healer. I got the Urel. I heal through and zone out 3 members of their team as we kill their tank. And now we can kind of go from there. We could chase him down if we want to. And that was my initial thought, was chase him down, because the Li Ming was right here, but she teleported all the way over there. So I said, nope, let's go for the boss. So we go for the boss. My team pings and they say that they're that the enemies are going for their boss. I tell my team instead, hey, don't worry if they get their boss, because it's going to only hit a fort. We really want to push with our boss, and we also want to be able to get this this siege camp. So my goal here is to get vision. Once I get vision, then we can go for the siege camp, and then we can push, and there's a good chance we can end the game here, because we're going to hit level 20s first. So, I did have to make some shot calls here, and this is where I'm typing to my team really quick, kind of telling them the reason why we don't care about theirs is because we actually want to worry about this. So, I freeze those. You don't have a lot of camp clear on Mei, so there's no real point to try to go for camps unless you're with your team. So you can make those calls if you want to. I want to destroy the sidewall relatively early to this fight. So you see me shooting at the sidewall because I really want to try to make a play here. I want to see if I can like go in and avalanche someone into our team. So I go in trying to get the Gul'dan, and I end up missing the avalanche on the Gul'dan, hitting it on the Urel, and that was probably a mistake. So I tank the tower for my team, I stun, and then I just take a step back after using my trait, using my E to get out of that fight. I gain some life back from this Morales and decide, you know what, it's time to go back in. We still have a pretty healthy boss, and we still have siege camps that are pushing. So if we can just stall, we might actually be able to win here. So my goal here is just to stall as long as possible and to peel off my team. So you see Urel go in, and I knock Urel back, giving her an 80% slow. I then take a step back, do some extra damage. I do ping retreat because I'm not exactly sure, but we do still have those sieges. So that was a mistake on my part to ping retreat because the siege are still doing quite a bit. I lose 75 of my armor here, and I end up going in to try to ult. I actually get the extra slow from Avalanche, which would have been enough to kill Urel. But that is the game, and we close out that game right there. So we hit 20s. I was able to use Avalanche twice in that fight because I hit that Cascade, which lowered the cooldown. So I avalanched the Urel into our team at the beginning of the fight, and then I also avalanched Urel at the end of that fight. And this last one also added those extra snowballs, which slowed her enough, even though I missed my ult. It slowed her enough that we would have been able to kill her. But that's it. I would say Mei is a very fun tank to play. She's rather good at peeling, and she's rather good at fighting in very small clustered areas, making her a strong tank for very specific maps. I would say for every other map, she's okay. But overall, she's definitely fun to play. You need to play her kind of like a combo mage that has a lot of health. That's really the best way that I would say, is you play Mei like a combo mage, which is fun because it's a playstyle that we don't have on tanks right now. So overall, that is Mei. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. She doesn't play that much like Overwatch Mei. She plays very different, and I really like this playstyle, but I'd love to hear what you guys think about her. Toss it down in the comments down below, and thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to check out all of my other videos.